Sara would also be acquitted. Because I would only think that this is wise political strategy, or tactic. Hindi naman strategy. It's a very wise political tactic.
So, sabi nga nila, what could have happened if the defense team or the vice president's team does not answer the summon issued by the impeachment court? But because she did, we are here now. What did you think of the response? The ad katellum.
I think it's correct legal strategy on the part of the defense team, of Vice President Sara. But not being a lawyer, I'm not here to talk about the legal implications. I would only think that this is wise political strategy, or tactic. Hindi naman strategy. It's a very wise political tactic. Because at the end of the day, the House is given 5 days to respond to the response of the response of the Vice President for the summons, which ends June 30. And by June 30...
Okay, welcome to ReignTv. Ay, grabe ang nangyayari ngayon sa politika, diba? So eto ikakat muna nating video na yan. Kasi pag-uusapan muna natin ngayon ang sinasabing political masterstroke raw sina Senate President Jesus Cordero at Alan Cayetano. Ang tanong dito, planado nga ba ang lahat? But anyways, eto ano nga ba yung masterstroke? Ang masterstroke ay isang napakagaling at matalinong hakbang o galaw, lalo sa politika. Eto ayon sa isang analyst niyan, na si Lito. So kung hindi daw agad nagsumiti ng summons ang Senate Impeachment Court noong June 11, hindi sana nag-push through agad ang susunod na moves. Dahil kung sinunod ang original timeline ni SP Escudero sa June 2 pa lang ay magbubukas na. Baka iba din ang naging takbo ng impeachment. Pero dahil sa matalinong maneuver ng dalawang politiko na yan, parang naipituloy ang kalaban. So sino ba yung mga kalaban? So yung mga taong nag-file ng impeachment kay Vice President Sara. Nandun yung mga kalaban nila sa politika, 'di ba? So kaya sinabi ng mga ilan na this was a calculated moves, isang political masterstroke. At ang tinuturong utak dito walang iba kundi si Jesus Cordero at si Alan Peter Cayetano. Pareho kasi silang batikan at matatalino sa batas at politika. Eto lang kung masterstroke ito, kanino kaya ito pabor? Kay Sara kaya o sa mga kalaban niya? Ang Supreme Court na ang susunod na magsasabing legal ba ito o hindi. Pero kung sa timing, strategy at execution, talagang angat ang galawan ng dalawang senador na ito. So abangan natin ang susunod na kabanata. Let's watch this.
The 19th Congress is functus officio. So you're throwing it to the 20th Congress. So whether you like it or not, it's back to the House of the 20th Congress.
Let's talk about that. There's something you actually said that was very important. Was it wise? You said a good strategy coming from the defense team. They were really forced at this particular timeline. In other words, if the Senate Impeachment Court did not decide to issue the summons last June 11, hindi naman po makakarating dito sa date na to. If Senate President Jesus Cordero had stuck to his earlier pronouncement that they would do it June 2, hindi tayo aabot dun sa sinasabi niyo, June 30 na 20th Congress. So, sino po yung wise dito?
Well, let's say that for a politician, Jesus Escudero knows his politics very well. And all the histrionics that happened in the Senate on June 11, pati yun hindi expected di ba? They would immediately convene, they would don the robes on June 11 and all that because they were expecting it on the 13th pa, All of this looks like a pre-planned thing, And I must say it's a political masterstroke. The legality of which the Supreme Court will have to decide upon sooner, hopefully, than later.
A masterstroke by whom? Just the Senate President?
Well, it could have been Alan Cayetano who proposed the remanding of the impeachment articles to the House, and Senate President Jesus Cordero, and then a small group there talked about it, and it looked like a good idea.
But to you, was it obvious that it was discussed, that this was going to happen, that this was going to be the date?
I would think so.
That
because
this is going to be the motion?
Yeah, because these two are very bright lawyers.
And you're referring to Alan Cayetano and Jesus Cordero. Would you know anything about that?
Well, I think we'd have to leave that to the lawyers, But ang problema nga kasi is the way I look at it, and let's face it, all impeachment cases filed against from ERAP to Corona, and even Mercy Gutierrez, of course, resigned before the court convened, no? All of these are really motivated not necessarily by the issue at hand, by the politics at the back of it, no? So, ang nangyayari dito, there has been a very concerted demolition campaign against the probable winner in 2028, which is Vice President Sara Duterte. But it was either they were clouded by the desire to do her in politically, no, or they simply did not have a grand strategic plan on how to do it. Kasi parang reactionary yung mga moves, no? So now it goes to the Senate court, no, and the senators are also looking at ways and means by which they can protect their political interests in 2028.
Eto ha, magbibigay lang ako ng aking opinion, no? Sa tingin, no, ng mga iilan sa nangyayaring impeachment laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Ayon kasi sa mga obserbador, no, mukhang may isang malawak at sabayang demolition campaign laban kay Vice President Sara. Ang itinuturing na pinakamalamang na mananalo ngayong 2028. Kaya, ang layunin nila, sirain siya bago pa man magsimula ang totoong laban.
No? For instance, if the impeachment trial started forthwith, as the lawyers say,
in the Constitution,
right after February 5, no? I think the results would also have been, if they expedited the trial, Sara would also be acquitted. Because you have 7 senatorial re-electionists, no? And they would always need the Mindanao and half of the Visayas vote. So how would they vote? No? It's really political. So she would have also been acquitted. But now they prolonged it, no? And here comes the 20th Congress. For all you know, we will be in limbo, both the Senate impeachment court and the House of Representatives of the 20th Congress, and wait for the Supreme Court to make a decision.
you know, that's fair enough to say that there are other pressing problems. But on the flip side, there is a particular section in the 1987 Constitution on impeachment. Kaya ang hunga, hiniwala yun dahil it is as important, or maybe, because there are two things here. I think it was Senator Bongo who said, hindi naman nakakain yung impeachment. Meron pong ganong train of thought, hindi ho ba? But then you have a Senate Minority Leader, Coco Pimentel, saying, hindi naman lahat kailangan tangible. Nandyan din ang hustisya, etc.
Yeah.
So, dalawa po yun. And then some will argue that that's the reason why there's a particular chapter or article in the 1987 Constitution on impeachment.
Yes, that's why I said earlier that I'm not here to talk about the legal aspect, nor to make a moral judgment, no? Because if we look at moral judgments, hey, how many senators were already were charged with far graver crimes, no? How many cabinet members have been charged and they're still there, have been charged within a policy scam? Or take, for instance, a 23 billion claim on the estate of the late President Ferdinand Marcos, with the administrator being the president himself, no? That's 23 billion versus 612.5 million. Ang dami eh.
Eto ha, bakit sinasabi kong palpak ang mga galaw ng mga nagpapa-impeach kay Vice President Sara? Kasi wala silang strategic plan, di ba? Wala silang long-term strategy. Lahat na lang ng galaw nila, reactionary lang. Lahat na lang ng galaw nila ay padalos-dalos. Kung ano-ano na lang yung lumulutang na issue, doon sila sumusugod, di ba? Wala sila sa timing. Desperado pa yung mga kalaban, sablay ang execution. Parang gusto lang nilang pabagsakin si Vice President Sara sa kahit anong paraan na gusto nila, kahit wala naman silang malinaw na roadmap, di ba? O plano nila. Kaya imbes na masira o makasira, lalo na silang nagmumukhang, nako, alam niyo na.
But the institutions nga, the democratic institutions, have to be strengthened. Unfortunately, they're also being used by politicians for their political interests rather than actual accountability.
How can that be fixed? Because we can talk about this endlessly, and we also have to admit that impeachment is a political exercise.
Yes.
And you have senator judges who take their oath, who say that, diba, they will be
Be impartial.
exactly.